Hello and welcome to Midweek Meditation, where we have an opportunity to briefly share with you what God has shared with us. We are locked into this series entitled Pardon Our Mess, New Life is Under Construction. We're walking through the book of Nehemiah. We're learning some important things about the rebuilding, both physically and spiritually. Rebuilding this building that we're in, that we occupy, called New Life Church. We're in the process of laying the plans so that we can do some restructuring, refurbishing, fixing up. But we also believe that it does us no good to have a good-looking building and inside the people are not where they need to be. So we're asking God to bless us in the restructuring. I want to ask you to join us as we go through this process. Nehemiah now is we are in chapter 2 of the book of Nehemiah. We're dealing with the fact that Nehemiah now goes from theory to practice. It is now time for him to get busy. And Nehemiah teaches us three things, and I want to share them with you very briefly. Those three things that Nehemiah shares with us. The first thing I want to do is take you to Nehemiah, the second chapter, verses 3 and 4. And I want you to hear the conversation that Nehemiah has with the king. And here's what the word of the Lord says. And the word of the Lord says, "And I said to the king, may the king live forever. Why should my face not be sad when the city, the place of my father's tombs, lies waste and its gates are burned with fire?" Then the king, I want you to hear what the king said to me. The king said, "What do you request?" So I prayed to the God of heaven. Nehemiah is teaching us some things. And the first thing Nehemiah teaches us is that God's delays don't mean his denials. Can I say that one more time? The delays of God don't mean the denials of God. Nehemiah has been 4 months before God even begins to talk about what he wants him to do, where he wants him to go. We notice in chapter 1, Nehemiah is told to rebuild, but then in chapter 2, he's finally given the confirmation to go and rebuild. It took 4 months for God to confirm the fact that he's got a job for Nehemiah to do. Nehemiah understood that just because he's in a delay time does not mean it's a denial time. And I want to pause and tell somebody that's in a delay, you don't know what the Lord wants you to do next, but I want you to keep pressing before God. I want you to keep praying to God, because God's delays do not equal his denials. Oh, but then Nehemiah teaches us something else. Number 2, Nehemiah teaches us that just because you have faith does not mean you can't be organized. The presence of faith does not mean the absence of organization. You and I have got to be able to apply our faith. Yes, we do. But in applying our faith, we should have a plan. Lord, how are we going to pull this off? And I know it's important, because when the king asked Nehemiah, "What do you need?" Do you know what? Nehemiah was able to run it down to the king. I need this. I need that. Here's what I needed. Here's why I need it. And he was able to tell the king, "I need you to make a pathway for me to get these things done." Just because Nehemiah had faith in God did not mean he was not organized. Can I pause and tell you that even in your faith, you ought to have a plan. You ought to have a reason. You ought to know where you're going. You ought to know how you're going to get there. You ought to know that by faith, you can do all things, but you got to have a plan in the process. And then the last thing that Nehemiah teaches us, it's a powerful thing. Nehemiah teaches us that opposition, just because God is on your side, does not mean opposition will not come your way. Oh, there were some brothers that were against Nehemiah rebuilding the wall. Can I say that one more time? There were some brothers that were against Nehemiah rebuilding the wall. Everybody's not going to be on your side. You're going to have some ops. You're going to have some people that will come up against you. You're going to have some people that are going to be talking crazy. But I want to pause and tell you that when you are on the Lord's side, you have to stay focused on where the Lord has called you to and what he's called you to do. Can I say that one more time? You and I have to stay focused that where the Lord has called you to, he has also called you to do. He has called you to do a particular thing at a particular time, and I don't want you, neither does God want you, to be off focus. And that's what the enemy wants to do. That's what the ops want to do. They want to get you off focus. And so as I close, I want to challenge you to hang in there Don't let go. Understand that God has a plan for your life. Oh, I want to quickly, I want to remind you of something, that there's this young man. He's in Disney World. He's having such a good time. He's doing everything he possibly can. He's just enamored by Disney World. But all of a sudden, he gets so enamored that he forgot about his parents. He got away from his parents. He's still so busy, so tied up in having all this fun. He got away from his parents. See, he lost focus of his parents because he was focused on all the good times that he was having. I want to pause and tell you that that's how the enemy works. He wants to get you off focus. He wants to keep you from doing what God has called you to do. But I want to challenge you that if God be for you, who can be against you? Hold on to him. Don't let him go, and hang in there. I look forward to seeing you on this weekend. We're going into part 4 of this series entitled Pardon Our Mess. New life is under construction. Won't you come and join us, and God bless.